A bite-sized game about French children playing basketball, BasketBelle was released on July 4, 2012 by one Mr. Bean and made available in the Palestinian Aid Bundle. The nameless main character gets a little sister, and takes to her well, encouraging her to join in his passion, but one day she disappears and he goes on a journey fighting blob monsters to rescue her. Since this game is literally 30 minutes long, I don't feel bad about spoiling, otherwise I wouldn't have anything to talk about. There is no actual conflict, they're just two kids playing make-believe, or, as the adults call it, role-playing. Considering that, the melodrama, the betrayals, the campiness of the writing works well because it is the result of how children often pivot quickly in what they want to play. Children are not expert improv actors, after all. When you find BasketBelle, the younger sister, she calls herself Queen Bee and says the blob monsters are her family. You play against her in one-on-one and she's noticeably better than you, despite an earlier sequence showing she hasn't gotten the hang of basketball yet. And that's because, despite what the game shows you, the main character is clearly letting her win and is helping her get the sweet dunks she makes on you. Multi-layered storytelling like this really strengthens what is otherwise a super short game. Everything takes on new meaning as you imagine what the kids are actually doing without the filter of imagination adding a grandiose meaning to their actions. Last time, I talked about how a story can survive without conflict under certain circumstances, but that's not what's really happening here. The conflict may be totally imagined, but it's still what drives the story because it's what the kids are forming their playtime around. Additionally, I feel it's fairly realistic to how kids play, at least from my own recollection of doing the same thing. On the surface level, the adventure is engaging, but beneath that, it's charming to watch siblings get along like this, and insightful to consider why their adventure plays out the way it does. The main character making his little sister a far superior player to him is, itself, some really nice storytelling. The gameplay emulates the rule-changing nature of kids' play. First it's basketball, then puzzles, then back to b-ball, then Flappy Bird. This back-and-forth switching keeps any one mechanic from even approaching staleness. It's such fast pacing that the lack of refinement of the mechanics inherent to a small project tackling so many gameplay ideas doesn't become apparent. Compared to a 10-hour game with 4 forced stealth sections, by the third one you're probably really sick of the guards seeing you from off-screen and making you start over, Harry Potter. Even if any of the playstyles here were similarly frustrating, the fact that they're so transitory makes the whole game super fresh to play. My biggest complaint is with one of the visuals. While the cardboard backgrounds and stylized characters are striking, the TV snow filter over the whole game looks ugly and makes it look lower resolution than it actually is, and when the heavy rain starts in the bird chase level, the two filters clash really badly. Despite that, the game is fun to play and to watch. Despite its length, it's memorable for its lightning pace, and despite its advanced years in the realm of indie games being from 2012, it's definitely worth a check. An 8 out of 10 for me. And I'm itching for new games.